Wisconsin, late July 2025. This is Nick's Nonsense here. Welcome to Nick's Nonsense. Today we're in the garden. We're going to be checking out how well the garden's doing here in central Wisconsin. We live out in the country on 20 acres in the Marsh. Got 7 kids. So I try to get a big garden each year to help supplement the food. Unfortunately, this year the weeds are taking over. You got the roosters crowing in the background. So let's check out how the garden's doing here in Wisconsin, in the Marsh. We live in the Marsh. So first we're going to start in the rich garden. This is the garden that the pigs were in for the past couple years. So lots of pig poop in this garden acting as compost. Unfortunately, the weeds love that compost too. What we have here is our giant pumpkin plant. We bought a packet of giant pumpkin plant seeds. It was like $3 for the packet. It came with a total of 5 seeds. 5 seeds in the packet. And out of those 5, we planted 4 in this garden and 1 over there. And out of those, 1 grew. They probably do that on purpose. So we're hoping that we get at least 1 pumpkin off this giant pumpkin plant, because then we can harvest the seeds, and the next year we have 200 seeds to plant instead of 5. We do have a pumpkin growing here. See if I can find it. Yep, here it is. Let's check it out. There's our biggest pumpkin off the giant pumpkin plant here. Lots of weeds, unfortunately. We took a trip to Florida like right after planting time in the spring, and by the time we got back, it was too late for the weeds. We can't catch up to them anymore. Hello, thanks for joining. All right, so we're checking out the gardens here in central Wisconsin. It's that time of the year all over North America. Everybody's gardens are probably in full bloom. We're looking at a giant pumpkin plant here. So this is supposed to be those pumpkins that grow to like 500 pounds or more. I don't need to make it a huge pumpkin this year. We just want the seeds from it so that next year we can have more seeds to plant instead of the 5 seeds that come in the packet at Walmart. So there's that plant. It looks to be happy. Unfortunately, lots of weeds here. Lots of mosquitoes too. All right, hello. Thanks for joining, Anna. Okay, so let's check out the other things growing in this weedy garden. Oh, here we can see something's happening that's not good. Look at that. It's not happy. It's like rotting. What do you think's doing that? Too wet? We've had a lot of rain here. It's been way too wet this year again. Not as bad as last year. Last year it was horrible. Flooded like half the year. I mean, the farm fields around here, last year they never even got to plant in their fields. Hi guys, thanks for joining. All right, so we're talking about why these giant pumpkins are rotting and looking like they're dying. That field there, they never planted in there last year. In fact, what they're doing this year is, for the past week, they've had an excavator out there digging a ditch around the perimeter of their entire field. Hey, thanks for joining. What we're doing is we're checking out the garden. Got a big garden here, live in the country in Wisconsin. I got 7 kids, so trying to get extra food, because food's like so expensive these days. I've gardened for quite a while, but when we moved out to the country, yeah, chance to grow a big garden. So that's what we're doing, checking out the garden. Tomatoes. This is the big item this year. The tomatoes are doing great. I mean, look at this tomato plant here. It's almost as tall as me. Yes, got lots of tomatoes on it. Let's move down the garden here. Peppers. Got weeds. That's not, there's the peppers hiding in the weeds there. It gets better. It gets better as we go further. Check this out. This is all tomatoes here. Tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. What are we gonna do with all these tomatoes? That's a lot of tomatoes. Yeah. Um, Thanks for joining, guys. We're looking at our tomato bushes right now. And look at this thing. This is tomatoes here. Big. This was one tomato plant. I mean, this thing's like 6 feet across. By that one's like waist high. Walk down further. These are all tomatoes along here. Tomatoes are going to be crazy. I mean, look at this one. This tomato plant is my friend. It's like almost as tall as me. Supported with sticks. We have cages. This one's got cages. There we go. We can see there's a cage right there, way in there. Yeah, California. Yes, these tomatoes. Fertilizer. This garden is where the pigs were for like 3 years in a row. So I would call that plenty of fertilizer. The pigs lived in this space here, and there was a lot of pig poop in here. So that's why these are so happy in here. But yes, we don't have enough cages for all the tomatoes because cages are expensive. Everything's expensive. You can't get anything for free. You can't, or cheap even. You can't go to the grocery store and buy meat or food or vegetables for cheap. So you try and grow them yourself, and you have to have cages. And the cages cost money, and most of the cages are junky. So I'll show you what happens to some of the cages. There it is. There it is. The tomatoes got so happy and big that they just collapsed it. Peppers. Check out this pepper plant. This isn't even our best one. This is just one of many. Here's another pepper plant. These are probably jalapenos. We planted habaneros, jalapenos, maybe some ghost peppers, and then some bell peppers. Yeah, these are looking nice and happy. I don't actually see any peppers on these yet though, but over there we have some. Here, look what happened to these tomatoes. They collapsed, and yes, look at this. We got a cage supporting it, but the tomato bush just got so big and heavy that the weight of it just collapsed it. There, if you can see, there's the tomatoes hiding in there. Yeah. So, yuck. Talking about the peppers and tomatoes, yuck. Probably both. No, I love peppers. I love tomatoes. Here we go. Here's what I think is going to be a bell pepper. You set up here. Nice, good plant. There we are. They're looking purple. You can see that deep down in there. Those peppers look like they're purple. Kind of dark. There you go. Yeah. Those peppers look good. Pumpkins. We planted probably 1,000 pumpkins this year, seeds. And I'll show you later where we planted most of them. And unfortunately, most of them didn't grow. Eggplant. No, that was peppers. That was pepper. I think. You never know these days. Sometimes the seeds might not. Those were bought from a greenhouse, so you never know if maybe they gave us the wrong thing. But check this out. Pumpkin plant here. We did not plant that. We planted 1,000 plus pumpkin seeds. Most look horrible. We did not plant that one, and that one's looking awesome. Don't know. So let's go over to the third row here. So in between all these weeds, horrible weeds, it takes too much work to weed. This year we put down this black garden tarp. Eats pumpkin seeds, yes. We like to roast the pumpkin seeds at the end. Yeah, we love doing that. So we put this black tarp down, this garden stuff, and I think that's making them love the soil here a lot better. Cilantro. We got some cilantro. I've been cutting it once a week. Not sure if that's the right thing to do, but we cut it. Growing any avocados? No, it's too, well, right now it's warm, but this is Wisconsin. We're not going to be able to grow avocado trees here. I think they need it much warmer than where we're at. Bahamas. Oh yeah. Are those the avocados? That's cilantro there. Here's some more peppers. There we go. Jalapenos. We got jalapenos here. There they are. I've been picking off this plant already. The first couple jalapenos, they were not that spicy, but now suddenly they turned really spicy. There we are. That one's pretty loaded. Get you up close. Yeah, lots of peppers this year. Look at this plant, tomato plant. It's big. This one hasn't knocked over its cage yet. Same yuck, yuck, yuck. Are you able to eat pepper leaves? Should we try one? We can try one. I don't think you're supposed to eat them, but I don't think it's gonna hurt me. It's really bitter. Kind of like dandelion leaves. No, it's not better than peppers. I don't want to eat that. It reminds me of the milky substance in a dandelion. Here we go. We can eat this. It's not really fully ripe yet. It's kind of orange. Mm-hmm. Good tomato. Uh-oh. Tomatoes in the walkway. I gotta watch where I'm walking because the tomatoes spread into the walkway. Down here, we got some more tomatoes. I'm not gonna eat this one right now, though. I'll put them in my pocket. Okay, good stuff. We have lots of tomatoes in this garden, lots of peppers in this garden, a giant pumpkin. There's the giant pumpkin plant for those of you that didn't see it any before. And up here's our giant pumpkin. Let's go ahead and head to another garden then. There's the giant pumpkin plant. All right. Is that an orange? That was a tomato. It was an orange tomato. Okay. So you can see there's a gate there because that was where the pigs used to be. So that's the really good garden. That's where everything's happy. Yep. Stay away from that one. Naughty chickens, roosters. All right, so we have a couple more gardens hiding around here because that area isn't big enough for all the stuff we need to grow. So let's go walk towards the next garden. We got Timothy hooking up the lawn sweeper to his lawnmower here. All right, yeah, so we're on central Wisconsin, living in a marsh. We have 20 acres. We used to live in town on 0.33 acres, and we still had a garden there, but it was like really small. It was like 20 foot by 40 foot. Now our gardens, we've got 3 or 4 or 5 gardens, and I mean some of them are like 100, 200 feet long. And unfortunately that's more than we can handle for weeding. So if we don't catch the weeds right away, they get out of control. You can see the horseflies. They're trying to get you guys. They're buzzing the camera. Okay, here we are. As you can see, this was supposed to be rows. Horseflies. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 4 rows of garden there. This was mostly cucumbers and pumpkins. Almost nothing's growing here. Nothing but weeds. Lots of stuff's growing, but nothing we want. It looks really sad. Really, really sad. There's a flower from a pumpkin plant. Pretty grass, yeah. Are we gonna sell the grass or the pumpkins? Right now we're not gonna be able to sell anything because this stuff's not growing very good. All right, so then this garden extends this way too. You can see the path we got. Here comes Timothy, somewhere behind me here, coming with a load of mulch. We really needed that mulch earlier to keep these weeds down, but that lawn sweeper to pick up the grass did not work. Did the kids destroy the rows? No, the rows are okay. We go in between them. Do we have any strawberries? We planted strawberries a couple times since we moved in. They never grew. They died. And that's what usually happens. There he goes. I don't know if he was actually dumping a load of mulch or just driving around. You like watching videos? Oh, I see. Yeah, Nigel. Fixing oil leaks. Oh, I know why. I know what that's all about. Fixing oil leaks on maybe a Beetle. Yeah. All right, so here we are. We got back from Florida. We went to Florida right after we planted, and we came back, and it was boom, weeds. And all the cucumbers we planted like 10 packets of cucumbers, not a single one grew. Or else they grew and they were covered by the weeds. All right, why aren't they in Florida? I don't know, feels like Florida. It's like 90 and hot and muggy out today. So, talking about the cucumbers, there we go. Finally some decent looking plants. We replanted cucumbers after we got back from Florida, multiple weeks later than we should have. But there you go. Finally seeing some plants growing. Once again, weeds. There we go. Cucumbers. Let's pull some weeds here. So you can see, there it is. It's starting to trail out. That's what you want the cucumbers to look like. All right, so, I know they're small. This time of the year they should be much bigger, but once again we planted them late. Loofah. We planted some loofah. Anybody ever grow loofah before? I've never grown loofah, but My wife bought some loofah plants. They're looking pretty good. Pupa, loofah. Hey, thanks for watching. Some loofah plants. So supposedly it's like a gourd maybe, or squash like thing that you dry out then. And once it's dried out, it's like a sea sponge, like a sponge type thing that you wash your face with, I guess. It's a loofah. That's what I have. I have a loofah. Squish the loofah. Okay, so basil. We got some basil hiding here. There it is. Basil. It's looking pretty decent. We got a couple of basil plants. Hidden with the weeds though. Check this out. This. This was a row of pumpkins. Now it's a row of Japanese beetles. Weeds and Japanese beetles. Do you guys have Japanese beetles where you're at? They're horrible. Japanese beetles are horrible. Especially on apple trees, plum trees, grapes. This is what they look like. Right there. Horrible. You know what they're doing? They're making more. Is that an avocado? That's a Japanese beetle. All right, so here you can kind of see down these two rows. That was supposed to be pumpkins and cucumbers. Pumpkins in that row, cucumbers in that row. Nothing but weeds. I don't know how real farmers do it. All right, here's two more rows. Walking out to this section of the garden. Once again, mostly pumpkins in this row, cucumbers in this row, mosquitoes on my arm. In India, they eat those bugs. Well, I can collect them if you want to eat them. We got plenty here. There's the sunset behind me. Out that way, it gets really wet. Marshland, soggy, many years. Where I'm standing right now is underwater. Just got a huge puddle. So we need to try and build up our land better. That's why I've got rows. Hills, you can't really see it, but these are actual hills. I had to manipulate this with the tractor in the spring because the water, we need it on hills because we have too much water. Too much water and horse flies. All right, let's keep walking down this row. Some cucumbers down there. We have some dill hidden amongst the weeds. Weeds, weeds, weeds. That's the story of the day here today. Story of the year. This is all supposed to be cucumbers here. There you go. You can see how long that section of the garden was. Where I was standing back there. And believe me, some years it's good. Some years that whole thing is full of cucumbers and pumpkins and just growing like crazy. But it's been a wet year and we haven't been able to get ahead of the weeds because we were gone. We have pigs. Yes, we have pigs. We can maybe walk past the pigs later. There we go. This section's looking good. Check it out. Other than the horse flies in my hair, we got some pumpkin plants. They're actually growing. There we go. Pumpkin plants. They're looking happy. No pumpkins yet, but yeah, they're looking good. Continuing to walk down the pumpkin path here. Every once in a while you'll see pumpkins. Pumpkins. horseflies, pumpkins. All right. We got one more section of garden here. Actually, two. What was that? That must have been a giant horsefly trying to get you guys. So here we go. So behind me, you can see the strip of pumpkin plants we planted. Can you let your pigs, my uncle can't pet his, can we pet our pigs? I think so. I think so. They're smallish pigs, relatively. They're a mix between potbelly and coon. And yeah, I'll try. I'll see if I can get near one and pet it in a little bit here. We got to get there first, though. So sunset's behind me, so we're walking this way. So I have gardens spread in different areas of the property because we live in the marsh, and some years one area is wetter than another, one area is drier than another. If it's a dry year, you want them in the wet area. If it's a wet area or wet year, you want them in the dry area. All right. Hello, I'm the great Cornholio. All right, Mr. Cornholio. Thanks for joining. Is this the field where you bury your victims? We won't talk about that. Here you can see the marsh. Get you up high. Right there. Cattails. You can see cattails over there. Cattails means it's very wet. You can also, way back there, probably see where the starliners are. That's where we work on a lot of our equipment. So if you watch some of our other videos, there it takes place, way over there. And here we are. Look how tall the marsh grasses are. I'm walking to the pumpkin patch. So in this other area, we planted lots of pumpkin seeds. Probably in this area alone, I'd say 600 maybe. Pumpkin seeds and corn. We planted corn there too, but guess what? We were cheap. Oh, that horsefly, it's trying to get you. You're naughty. For my Bongholio. All right, so you guys got a horsefly on you. But corn, we were cheap. We were talking about how cheap we were. We didn't buy corn like a farmer does. We went to Fleet Farm and we bought popcorn. We planted the popcorn out of the popcorn bag. It worked in the house. We planted it out here. No. There's like 3 out of like tons and tons and tons of popcorn seeds. There's 3 popcorn plants that are maybe 8 inches tall. All right, here we made it. So first I'll show you where we came from. See that tree line there? That's where those pumpkin plants were, the other side of the tree line. Did I plant any weed? Well, we got lots of weeds growing. We didn't need to plant them. So here we are, this side, way past the tree line. Yeah, right there. You can see how it's mowed. And then we got weedy areas. Well, the weedy areas are the garden. Going this way, weedy area, weedy area, weedy area, weedy area. And then we got a path. So that circles the garden. Let's see if we can find anything in this garden here. This is the one where we planted like 600 pumpkin seeds, at least. It was super, super wet in here after we planted. And it's still really wet. Here, let's get you down and look. So if you can see, It's not soggy, but it's too wet. Too wet in here. I can't even tell if I'm walking in the row or on the row anymore. There we go. I see some pumpkin plant across the rows. There it is. Pumpkin plant. Pumpkin plant. And then there's more. As we look up, we've got them. We've got more pumpkin plants, but they're so tiny. It was too wet. I mean, they're there. Pumpkin plants are there. They're there. But it was way too wet at first. It stunted their growth. And then the weeds, they love the wetness. So they grew too much. Pumpkin plants are too small. And now they're fighting against it. They made a huge mess. Yeah. Okay. Grapes. We have grapes right here in the weeds. Weeds is the theme of the day. Let's see if we can find the grapes. There they are. There they are. There's the grapes. Aren't you guys jealous? There were more grapes before. I don't know what happened. Probably the Japanese beetles. They love destroying grapes. So yeah, there's kind of a grape plant there. All right, so some of you wanted to know if I can pet the pigs. Uh-oh, someone made toilet paper. All right, there's that other garden. I'm not walking in that one. I think I see a corn growing, but let's go check out the pigs. There they are. We have 2 goats, we have 2 sheep, and 2 pigs. Bart and Coco are the sheep. Bob and Abe are the goats. Orson and Moo are the pigs. This is an electric fence. I gotta somehow get past it to see if I can pet the pigs. Show us. Yeah. Do I make cheese? No, I don't make cheese. There's a cheese factory right down the road though. If we stand at just the right location, which is way over there, we can actually see the cheese factory from our house. We can see their silos. They got stainless steel silos. So like really expensive silos. But I don't make cheese. This fence is too high. I'm not gonna try jumping over it. So we gotta get in there if you guys want to see if I can pet the pigs. There's the pigs. They're pretty small. So I think we can pet them. Let's go check it out. Talking about weeds, this electric fence, it's no fun trying to keep the weeds low enough so the electric fence doesn't short out. All right, well, we're walking towards the pigs. There you go. You can see the 1960 Ford Starliners. We just had a video, bugs, of taking the engine out of that. Check out that video. What are you just collecting unemployment and blazing sea rock? I don't know what sea rock is, but no, I work full time. So I'm at work all day long, sometimes all night long. Then I come home and work on this stuff. This stuff's for fun. Trying to supplement the income, supplement the food. Oh, what happened there? Oh, I see. That happened while I was at work. If you want to know what that's all about, check out Tanner Rebuilds. He did that today. Your grandma wants to know if you're gonna give her those cars. Nope, we're working on them. All right, let's go visit the pigs. Oh, look at that. After all that, the electric fence wasn't even plugged in. I could have hopped over there. All right, let's try and get in here. We don't want them to escape, so be quiet. Grandma gets what Grandma wants. All right, let's close this. Uh-oh, that doesn't close all the way. They better not escape. Look what you're making me do. All right, let's sneak up on them. You gotta be very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. Okay, this one's Orson. Let's try and pet Orson first. Orson. Orson. Where you going? He's running away. Let's try Momo. Momo. Oh no. Momo. Why are they running away? All right, let's try again. Look at those teeth. Your uncle's hand got eaten 7 years ago from a pig. Well, I think I could pet them, but they're too busy eating right now. We'll try one more time. One more time. And I'm not going in that though. Yes. Success.
Look, dirt.
I have apple trees. Yeah, I have a few. All right. So, I see what happened. You want to know what happened?
I have pigs to show you.
You guys, thank you for watching. But guess what you made me do? You got me in the pig pen. So here we are, sitting in the pig pen at the end of a hot, steamy day in central Wisconsin. You guys got to see our garden. You got to see a ton of weeds. You got to see some pigs, some cars, and an engine. So thank you for watching. I'm in the pig pen. You guys are at home. All right. Thank you. Like, subscribe maybe. Watch it a couple hundred more times maybe. Have a good day.